Representative Kunesh-Podein, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members. I'm State Representative Mary Kunesh-Podein, and I'm here today to present legislation around creating a task force to study Minnesota's missing and murdered Indigenous women. It was about two years ago that I listened to preliminary reports coming out of Canada on their national report around their missing and murdered Indigenous women. And while they had begun to look for this information and collect the data, they found that there were a lot of errors, there were a lot of roadblocks in the way, and perhaps some of the initial data that they collected was not clear or didn't really reflect the number of women that had gone either missing or murdered. It was at that time also that a young woman up in Fargo went missing. Savannah Graywin, she was a young woman, pregnant. She was missing for a day or so, only to find her body without her unborn child in her womb in the river. And they later were able to find that child with a neighbor that had committed the crime. And so then there was the legislator from North Dakota that started a missing and murdered Indigenous women bill to study the situation in North Dakota, Heidi Heitkamp. And I thought to myself, you know, why is Canada doing this in Minnesota, or the United States isn't doing this? Why is North Dakota doing this and Minnesota is not doing that? And then I had to remind myself, I am a state legislator and this is what I do. And so I came to the Capitol in the middle of the summer and spoke with House Research and said, we really need to do something around this. And they were able to put together like a first rough version of this bill. At that time, I reached out to the Indigenous community, to the different organizations, to individuals that I knew in the Native American community across the state, and invited them to come in and sit around a table and look at the bill and tell me, what do you want this bill to look like? I wanted them to really be the creators of this bill. On the night that we had about 18 very passionate women around the table. We had at least a dozen folks from greater Minnesota on the phone. And we went through the bill line by line, piece by piece, and fine-tuned that bill. And that was the bill that I presented last year to the state legislature. That was House File 3375. Fortunately, we were able to hear that in before the first deadline. It was actually the last committee hearing, the last hearing of the day before the deadline loomed. And it was an incredibly emotional, compassionate hearing. And what I think it did, it opened up the hearts and the eyes and the understanding that this is a national endemic, that this is a tragedy that has happened through historic times, and it hasn't gotten the attention or the compassion that it should have gotten over all of these times. And through this, I can tell you as a legislator, I have grown incredibly. The stories that I hear from women, from family members about not only themselves, but their sister, their mother, their grandmother, their aunt, is really, really heartbreaking. But I think it's really important that at this state legislature, at the Minnesota legislature, that we hear these stories and we listen very carefully, just as we listened to the testimony of the hearing before this one. Because these are human beings, these are women, these are life bearers, these are our ancestors. And we don't want to forget them. We want to be able to give them an opportunity to be heard and to ask for recognition, and then to ask for help in finding ways to end this whole tragic situation. So this task force that we have, I have here in front of you, House File 70, also 111 as a clone, creates a task force to address the violence against Indigenous women, and it defines the standards and requirements for this task force. It will create a task force to examine and report on issues addressing the systemic causes behind violence against Indigenous women, and that also naturally will extend to girls, to our Two-Spirit and Two-Men as well. We will ask them to recommend appropriate methods for tracking and collecting the data. We will ask this task force to act as a liaison between government agencies, policies, and institutions that impact violence against Indigenous women. And again, by natural progress, I'm sure it will be against, the issues against all women, men, violence against anyone. We are also asking them to recommend appropriate measures to address the violence and assist the victims and their families. This task force will be compiled of 17 individuals that will include law enforcement, defense attorneys, prosecutors, judges, tribal governments, non-government agencies, especially those who work with Indigenous communities, as well as the victims and the families of our missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And of course, we have in the past had the support of all 11 tribes in Minnesota, and we would ask for their continued participation in that. This task force will be required to report to the legislature by December 15th of 2020. And the fiscal note that has been connected to this would allot $67,000 for the first year for the compilation of the connecting of this task force, as well as some of the data collection. And then in year two, it would be $33,000 for a total of $100,000. In your packet here, you should have a report. It's called The Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, a snapshot of data from 71 urban cities in the United States. This is the first real comprehensive collection of data that I have seen yet in the last 2 years. And this was put together by the Urban Indian Health Institute in Seattle with the help of a young woman who is passionate and devoted to studying the missing and murdered Indigenous women. Her name is Anita Lakeshi, and she deserves a lot of the kudos for putting this together. I won't go through this, but I would really ask that you, on your own time, would take this and look through it and read it and try to understand what has been going on in our Indigenous communities for hundreds of years. You will find that one of the sad facts of the matter is that Minnesota ranks number 9 out of the top 10 states for the most missing and murdered Indigenous women. And for me, it's a crying shame no matter what. So I want to share this with you, ask you to read it, help you understand it. I know that we will hopefully be moving on to other committees to have this heard. But it's really important that not only are we educating ourselves, but that we are educating our constituents and the rest of the states. Hopefully this is something that, and I know it is a movement that is growing across the United States as well as up in Alaska. And so I would ask you to help us educate our communities and our state around this very, very sad tragedy. I have brought with me a few women that would like to testify and tell their stories. Some of these women work with the Indigenous community around this kind of violence. We have victims of this crime who were personally abducted and violated. We also have the family of a young woman named Jojo Boswell. Her mother and her daughter and her mother and her sister are here with us today. They lost their daughter and their sister Jojo, 2005 it was, never to be heard of again. They don't know what happened. They know where she was seen last, and that's all they know. And this is what they've had to live with day in and day out. And I'd like to invite them in a minute to share their story as well. To the right of me, I have Nicole Matthews. She is from Minnesota Indian Sexual Assault Coalition. I would like you to please share what you have to say today.
Representative, let me just pause very quickly to acknowledge the presence of Representative Aisha Gomez, who's joined us at the table. She's not a member of this committee, but she's asked to sit in on this hearing with us, and so welcome, Representative Gomez. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Senator Patricia Torres Rey, who's also stopped by to sit in and to listen, and also to honor the stories that will be shared here today. So welcome, Senator. Oh, and Representative Hassan. Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't see you past the.
I'm hiding back here.
Welcome to all three of you to the committee here today. Representative, please proceed. Oh, actually, it's Ms. Matthews. Welcome to the committee, Ms. Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Uju and Dinaway Maganang, Nicole Matthews, Jaganashimung, Manidu Beneshikwe, Indigenous, Migizi and Dodame. Greetings, my relatives. My English name is Nicole Matthews, and my Indian name is Spirit Bird Woman. I'm Eagle Clan, and I'm from the White Earth Band of Ojibwe. I'm truly honored to have the opportunity to speak with you today about murdered and missing Indigenous women. I am the Executive Director of the Minnesota Indian Women Sexual Assault Coalition, which is a statewide tribal coalition and a national tribal technical assistance provider. Our coalition membership spans the entire state and includes individual and organizational representatives from all tribal communities and includes urban representation as well. In addition, we provide technical assistance to tribes and community organizations across the country who are addressing both sexual violence and sex trafficking. I was one of 5 interviewers for our research on prostitution and trafficking of American Indian and Alaska Native women in Minnesota, where we interviewed 105 of our Native sisters about their experiences being used in prostitution and trafficking. One of the things that we heard from many of the women we interviewed was that they knew of someone who had been trafficked and they had never seen nor heard from them again. We heard story after story of the violence and invisibility they encountered on a daily basis. In fact, one woman told us that a sex buyer told her, "I thought we killed all of you." This is the same violence and invisibility that many of us encounter on a daily basis. We are indigenous to this land, and we deserve better. Thanks to a report that was recently published, the one that Representative Kunesh-Podein mentioned, we are starting to see data on the issue of murdered and missing Indigenous women. We know, however, that there is more data out there, and all of the data represents real human life. Someone's mother, someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's auntie, and someone's friend. We have many stories. In 2016, we lost Rose Downwind, who was missing and later found murdered by her partner. That same year, we also lost Tanya Skinaway Sam, who was also murdered by her partner. And last year, on this very day, January 29th, 2018, we lost a sister, Lene Strong, who was murdered here in St. Paul. There are many more stories similar to the ones I've mentioned, and some that you will hear today. And there are many, many more stories that are yet to be told. Stories that we don't hear in the media. Stories from our Indigenous trans sisters that don't get lifted up. Stories that have been forgotten or deemed unimportant. These stories are not just numbers for us. They represent a loss to our community and to our families, and it is time for Minnesota to acknowledge the responsibility to the Indigenous women on whose land we sit today. Minnesota has long been a leader on issues of gender-based violence, and creating a task force to address murdered and missing Indigenous women is a great way to continue that legacy. Miigwech, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Representative Kunesh-Podein.
Thank you very much. Next we have, I think I will ask Dolly and her mother, Ms. Boswell, to come up and share your story, if you will.
My name is Dolly Boswell. I'm Jojo Boswell's sister. And this is my mother, Geraldine Jackson. And
welcome to both of you
thank you.
to the committee. It's good to have you here. Our lights are going in and out, and hopefully it won't affect our microphone, but please lean into the mic so that we make sure that we capture your voices here today. Thank you.
Okay. In July 2005, my younger sister was arrested. And she was arrested in Hennepin County for charges in Owatonna. And they transferred her to Owatonna. And then she was released from the jail July 11th. And they released her from the jail, and she never made it back to Minneapolis. And my younger sister, I talked to her every day, and I tried to report her missing, and they told me I had to wait 48 hours. Yeah, and so anyways, I waited the 48 hours, and then once I was finally able to report her missing, there was this dispute about Minneapolis or Owatonna, and then her being an adult, and then the fact that she had criminal charges before, and then they basically told me, I have more important things to do. I have children to find. Call me when she returns home. And my sister, regardless of what state she's in, like mentally or where she's at, she would call me every day, check in every day. Yeah, she never made it home, and then and it's like by the time they finally got a chance to look into her case, you know, any evidence that was there, anybody that would have seen her, you know, would remember something that far back. But yeah, thankful for the coverage that she did get, and I'm hopeful that, you know, somebody will come forward, you know, years later and let us know what happened. Where's she's at?
Thank you. Would you like to say anything?
No, I just wish that whoever's out there knows where she is. If they would bring her back, let her call, talk, or send something to let us know that she's okay wherever she is. We're waiting for her.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Boswell. And is it, Representative, is it Ms. Jackson as well? Thank you for your testimony, and thank you for your courage to come forward and share that with us. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family as you continue to search and to hold hope. And our commitment is to do what we do, what we can do as lawmakers to address this issue as best as we can to make sure that our law enforcement community and, in fact, all of Minnesota stands with you. Representative Kunesh-Podein.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for that commitment. I would invite Misty Babineau to come speak now.
Welcome, Ms. Babineau.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, I'd like to start by thanking Representative Mary for bringing this bill forward. I was raped for the first time when I was 9 by the boyfriend of my foster mother at the time. When I was 12, I witnessed my grandmother get murdered in front of me. I watched her attacker go after my mother and after me. I fought for my life against a grown woman. I have the scars on my hands today. When I was 20, I was kidnapped. I was taken over 60 miles away from my home. I was held, and I was raped. I got away, though. These are not the only instances of violence that I have to share. And I want to highlight that my story is not rare. 4 out of 3 of my sisters have something similar to this. This is not something new. This is not something just brought in by the pipelines. 500 years we've been waiting for this. My sisters, my people have gone missing since European settlers set land here on Turtle Island. It's time for justice. This is time for healing. I implore, I beg everyone in this room, everyone at this committee, everybody who can hear my voice right now, do not allow this bill to become a bargaining chip on the table at the end of session. This bill needs to go for a floor hearing, and this bill needs to arrive on Tim's desk, and he needs to sign it. It's been too long. We fought for this bill last year. We got it into the omnibus bill, and due to politics, we lost it, not this year. I implore you, please. Our community deserves healing. These women deserve justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Babineau. Representative Kunesh-Podein.
Thank you, Misty. Thank you, Chair. Next, we have an elder from our community, great-grandmother Mary Lyons, who would like to say a word.
Welcome, Elder Lyons, to the committee.
I don't have a word, I have a book.
She does. She does have a book.
I always like to bring balance back when you hear such sadness. Good afternoon, my name is great-grandmother Mary Lyons. I'm not only a concerned Ojibwe elder of my community, my younger sister, Catherine Lyons, was murdered in 1989. On New Year's Eve, leaving 3 beautiful boys for me to raise. The subject is very close to home, not to mention that there are so many more that my family knew that never came home. What an honor it is, and I mean it, to have our words being heard in this arena as our new Minnesota government moves forward. I would like to share a common understanding as we move forward in justice that we all face and feel. After I clear, so I can see what I'm reading. It is not our back that hurts, but the burden. It's not our eyes that hurt, but the injustice. It's not your head that hurts, it's your thoughts. It's not the throat that hurts, it's either your silence or the anger of not being heard. Finding common memory ground is nearly impossible as we're dealing with 2 separate historical traumas. One being the Indigenous original people of this land, the dismantling of our cultural ways, lifestyles, the slavery and the demeaning and the forced reconditioning of living a white lifestyle that is not of our own. The other being, and please listen to this, the white invaders that came to Americas forgot why they left their homelands, forgetting their own genocide. I recently read an extremely provocative briefing from a white woman that wears a religious cloth and spoke openly about privilege in white America. She began with, know the history you carry and the way your history has impacted others. Because white culture has had the power to define what is normal, the power to write history, the power to silence dissenting voices, and the power to be oblivious in the impact of white culture. We have to work extra hard to see ourselves in the story of this country. She wrote that to her people. White people have a moral obligation to understand how they carry the violent history and heritage of the genocide of Native Americans and the profound trauma of chattel slavery in us. My prayer is that you will take initiative to learn and to expand your perspectives on things like the doctrine of discovery, treaties broken by the U.S. government, the wealth generated by the labor of enslaved people and the enslaved people being capital. She continued with reminding her community, the white community, of the dismantling of cultures that were foreign to them through religious institutions felt so entitled to the personal space of Native people that they took their children, cut their hair, forbid them to speak their language or dance their ceremonial dances, and destroyed their culture. Being aware of how Christians felt entitled to not just space, but spirits, cultures, bodies, families, and homes is a must for white-skinned Americans. White people are famous for their fragility, for their need to be right, for their discomfort with criticism, for their inability to listen and honor perspectives other than their own. And we, as white people, are famous for trying to normalize our violent ways of dealing with problems. This has been a historical habit in America. White people get to say what the objective facts are, with little or no acknowledgement that other perspectives and experiences have validity. That was from Dr. Marcia Mount-Shoup. When you have a history such as ours, first residents of this land, we don't have a common ground memory to move forward with, together as a people, all people of color. A simulation of Native people have been since the encounters of the white man resting their feet on their homelands. Through their religious beliefs of what they believed they were reviewing when they first witnessed the lifestyles of us, heathen lifestyles for the final judgment that was displayed upon us. Kill the Indian, save the man. The separations of land, dismantling of families, and early slavery of our people played a big part of the shift and is very evident today. We work twice as hard to still fit in. The historical backlashes of these pains resulted in alcohol and drug abuse, leaving our children to not trust relationships as forever connections. Our women were silenced by being victimized by rape, being beaten in these religious schools in the early days, and even death without a thought was a way of life for us. Our women have been forced into prostitution, victimizing as being worthless. It is just not our women we talk of. We also include our LGBT, transgender communities, and our young men. Our women witnessed such horrific harms that it left an imprint on our characters of how to fit into a white man's world. We have been silenced much too long. Our history has been hidden as truth does hurt, and it has its repercussions. Today is a new day with new problems and new resolutions, new solutions. This bill we're asking for is a given right. It's a given right to our community. We are taxpayers. We are good community leaders. We are doing our best to be single parents, and the list is long of the goodness that is often overlooked. The funds that we're asking for to support this bill is minimal cost that occurs in the aftermath. Not only does the families of our missing and murdered women, LGBT, transgender, and men feel the loss, so does the economy. How would you ask? The children that are left behind go into relative care, foster care, and institutions, group homes, some incarcerated, and adoption. This costs money, more money than what this bill is even asking for. I'll leave you with this pondering thought. Do you believe that your environment controls your thoughts and your feelings? Or do you believe that your thoughts and feelings control your environment? Take a few minutes to think about your answer. Which opinion feels more empowering? Which opinion do you want to be true? Be mindful that Band-Aid politics will only create a dangerous wound that will spread without any healing in sight. Please support this bill and move forward in unity as humanity is depending on us working together. Chimigwech. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderberry. Representative Kunesh-Podein.
Thank you, Chair. We did have another woman that would have liked to testify today, Renee Goodrich, but she was not able to make it due to the weather. But I do have a special request to bring up somebody from the governor's office, Kate Weeks, to share with us what a message from the governor.
Welcome, Ms. Weeks. And members, Ms. Weeks and I go back several years. She was a former employee at the Minnesota House. And we greatly miss your work and your intelligence and your guidance here. But thank you for coming back, and coming back in a new capacity, I understand.
That's right. Thank you, Chair, members. My name is Kate Weeks. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Justice Programs with the Department of Public Safety. I'm here to pass on a message from Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan fully support the formation of a task force and the goals it seeks to achieve. The Governor and Lieutenant Governor have traveled the state and heard from all 11 tribes on the importance of this issue. They hope to work with the author and all the stakeholders on ways they can help to ensure its success. One suggestion I've been asked to pass along is consider inclusion of representation of all tribes on the task force. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weeks. Representative Kunesh-Podein.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any more testifiers, but I would ask that you take into consideration the stories that you've heard, the historic trauma that I think we are all now aware of. And I ask for your support as we move through this process of creating this task force through the Minnesota legislature.
Thank you. Are there questions from the committee members? Representative Johnson.
Madam Chair, Representative Kunesh-Podein, thank you for bringing this issue forward again. It is an important issue, and it was last year as Chair of Public Safety, and I think it's the first time it's ever happened, but chairs from other committees were calling to make sure this bill was heard. It's a very important issue. I do have one minor concern on the bill, though, is the numbers of people you have on this committee. There's an old saying, too many cooks spoil. You may want to look at paring down the number of people on this committee so we can get the proper information as quick as possible.
Representative Kunesh-Podein.
Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion. When we worked initially on this bill, we tried to keep it as lean as possible, but making sure that we were including the most important stakeholders in order to be able to access data, share data, and code that data correctly. Right now, the only change that we have on this version of the bill is that we added 2 legislators from the House and 2 legislators from the Senate. Other than that, if we pared it down anymore, I would be concerned that we wouldn't get a full representation from our government agencies, from our tribal communities, and other than if you have any suggestion where you think we would do that, I feel this is a well-balanced, well-organized task force. The folks that would be on this task force, I'm assuming, are committed to it and would do the best that they can to ensure that we are getting a report in a timely way and gathering the information that we need to carry on post-report. Thank you, though.
And Representative Kunesh-Podein, I suspect at some point there'll be a conversation in GovOps relative to the size of the committee. And so you have an opportunity to make a more in-depth review of that at that point. Representative Pinto has a question.
Yeah, just maybe a brief comment, Mr. Chair. So I think folks on the committee are where I, in my role as a prosecutor, I served as the Director of Training and Protocol Development for the Safe Harbor System. I had a chance to work with some of the folks who've testified, Representative Kunesh-Podein, and I'm so grateful for her leadership in bringing this forward. And I can say that in training law enforcement around the state and others, this is a massive disproportionality in terms of the targeting for exploitation and trafficking of our Native community and in particular American Indian women and girls. And of course, it's so much grounded in the history, and I appreciated our elder providing so many references to history, because it really is grounded in hundreds of years. And I was just shocked in the course of that work to learn more and more about that, and would encourage all of us to continue that learning. But there was another reference to history was made by Ms. Matthews, which is a more positive history, a more recent one, which is the legacy of leadership in our state on gender-based violence. And I want to make sure folks in the committee are aware that this state was a leader in domestic violence with the Duluth model known around the world developed in the late 1980s. We've been a leader in terms of safe harbor work and fighting exploitation. That's nationally and even beyond. And I think that with this task force, we're a leader in another way as well. Representative Kunesh Panid, you're leading the way on this. And it's fitting that this particular topic, we would be one that be a leader on, not just because of the relationship with gender-based violence, but because of lifting up our Indigenous community and finally honoring that connection. And so I'm grateful to everyone who's testified and for the bill as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Pinto. Chairman Considine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Podine, for your leadership on this. I just want to express an opinion that I would like, as we finish with the committees, that we bring this bill maybe as a separate standalone bill. I think it's important enough that it deserves that on the House floor, and that's the direction I would like to see it go.
Thank you, Chair Considine. I believe that's also the wishes and intent of the author as well. Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Kunesh-Podein, for bringing this forward. I remember when you first came to me on the House floor, and we were kind of in the early stages of doing this, and I had a lot of questions for you, because I always have a lot of questions. But I'm just impressed with what you've put together, and I'd like to be included moving forward if there's anything that I can do to be helpful and move this ball forward. I was particularly moved by the testimony of your testifier directly to your right, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch her.
Misty Babino.
Misty was incredible. Your testimony was incredibly powerful and impactful in a way that it shines a light on what has been happening in your community, and realizing that 3 of your 4 siblings, including yourself, have been victimized in such a horrible way. I look at the other side of it also, of those that are out victimizing. And, you know, I have a lot of work that I've been doing to hold those men accountable. So I hope you would work with me as well as we start to really do a deep dive into some of these statutes that are a hindrance to prosecuting serial rapists. Because there are many serial rapists just out there roaming around, victimizing more and more and more. Or even worse, we talk about sex trafficking. And the sad statistic I heard recently is that a person that's been sucked into sex trafficking has a life expectancy of about 5 years. Yeah. It's horrifying. It's tragic. It's disgusting. And I just want to say to any members of the public listening to this, if you are a man and you go and buy sex, this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. We want to stop sex trafficking. We need to stop the men that are buying sex. You want to heal the community? We need to stop buying sex. I don't know how anyone could walk away from this testimony and not be moved. She was 9 years old the first time she was victimized. She was victimized again at 12. 3 of the 4 of her sisters were victimized. We have a culture today that women, children, just don't matter. You can buy them at will. You can buy them online. You can hook up at some hotel. It needs to stop. And if you're listening out there, buyers of sex, I want you to think about that. I want you to listen to her story and think about the incredible depth of pain you're causing, not only that child, that woman, but her family. Today I say enough is enough, and I will do whatever it takes to get this bill forward. Thank you for doing this work. You can count on me from this day forward to be by your side to do whatever you need to do on the task force moving forward so that we begin to change this culture and hold men accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative O'Neill. Changing culture, I think, is indeed what is our challenge in our state. And the law doesn't change culture, but the law has an incredibly powerful direction and vision and expectation and the ability to hold people accountable so that we can, in fact, change culture. So I appreciate your words of wisdom. Representative Kunesh-Podein, the honor is ours to have the elders who have come and spoken, to have the sisters that you have testify, also to have spoken with us. I heard the word healing, and I also heard justice. It occurs to me that healing requires justice. And justice requires a number of things. And first and foremost, it requires us to be able to see, to make visible what we have intentionally worked to make invisible. It also requires honesty, sharing, and accountability. Again, you know, this committee has focused itself on community-centered public policy, public safety, precisely for that purpose, for that reason, because we need community to be at the center of making visible and creating justice. And so I hope that we're able to move this bill successfully forward, have it signed, and let it be one piece that allows us all to live together in justice in this state. Members, we're going to take a vote because we're past our adjournment time. But Representative, I would be remiss if I didn't ask if you had any final words that you wish to share with the committee at this point.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all that listened so carefully and so intently. I saw the emotion in your faces. I hear it in your voice. Thank you, Representative O'Neill. Last year, there was not a representative that did not come to me and pledge their support, and I ask for your support once again, just as Chair so eloquently put it. It's time that we remove that invisibility cape around this situation and open up the historical trauma and the pain that has happened. I don't know that we can ever heal what has happened over these centuries, but we can do something to prevent it from happening again and again and again. And so I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Representative Kunesh-Podein. And so Representative and Chairman Dean renews his motion that House File 70 be referred to the Ways and Means Committee. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion prevails.